This interview is part of the James J. Blanchard Living Library of Michigan Political History.
Hi, I'm Lynn Jondal. Today, I'm having a conversation with the Honorable Bobby Crim. Bobby is former Speaker of the Michigan House of Representatives, active in the Genesee County community, Flint area, which he represented. And we want to talk to Bobby about his perspective on Michigan politics during this period of time in which he's been active. Good to talk with you, Bobby.
Good to be here, Lynn. Thank you.
If we hadn't conned you into being here today, talking here, what would be a typical July day for Bobby Crim in 2008?
Well, I'd be out running about 6, 7, or 8 miles because I still do a lot of running. I still do a lot of road races as well. And I'd probably be contacting playmakers because I'm working with them on a race in September for Special Olympics to help fund Special Olympics in Ingham and Eaton County. It's Area 8 of Special Olympics.
So this is an expansion of the Crim road race?
Well, wherever I'm at, I work with Special Olympics. When I'm in Florida, I help with the Polk County Special Olympics. Here, this is the Eaton County one, Area 8. I help them because that's a fundraiser. The September 21st Autumn Classic is a fundraiser for this area. And then many days I'll drive up to Flint because the Crim that's coming up, the Crim Road Race and the Crim Fitness Foundation. So I manage to keep pretty busy all the time now. Special Olympics has always been a special thing for me.
Are you reading anything?
I'm reading a lot of things, as a matter of fact, and I have the opportunity to go back and read Hemingway again, read Mark Twain again. I've read most of the books by Jimmy Carter. I've read the Soapy Williams book. I've read the book by Dempsey on Governor Milliken. I'm got a book on all the presidents and their backgrounds now. It's about 2,000 pages that I'm starting, so I've got an opportunity now to do a lot of reading that I didn't have before.
A lot of biography.
Yeah, a lot of biographies.
Yeah, but a lot of political biographies, it sounds like.
Yeah, because that's my interest, and I love to go back and find out things about people that I didn't know about. Harry Truman, I've read everything, of course, yes, that's ever been written about him or by him, because I'm originally from Missouri, graduated from high school there, and got to meet Harry Truman on several occasions. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things that first started me being interested in politics. I met him and became, in 1948, when I was just beginning my senior year in high school, a young Truman Dem, and he came and talked to us. And I actually saw him make a stump speech in a corner of a cotton field when he was running in 1948.
Talk about your initial interest in politics. You were born and raised through high school in Missouri?
Yes. I was born and raised there in this southeastern corner. It's called Boot Heel, Missouri, because it drops down into Arkansas and Tennessee. It's only about 90 miles north of Memphis, actually. But this was farm country, and I grew up on a farm. And Harry used to come down with the farmers, and Harry was a World War II veteran, and he belonged to the American Legion. And there was a fair each year down in that area.
He was in the U.S. Senate at this time?
He was in the U.S. Senate at the time, yes.
Mm-hmm.
He was a U.S. Senator at the time. And he used to come down to that fair and go to the American Legion and play poker with his buddies and drink bourbon and branch water and so forth. So Harry was quite a figure, and the people in southern Missouri really loved him and it voted for him overwhelmingly. And up in Kansas City area, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch used to beat him up a lot. He used to lose in the St. Louis area. But he came down what he called the cornbread and buttermilk route down in southern Missouri, and the southern farmers down there loved him, so we got to see him a lot.
Do you think he was an influence, a significant one for you personally in terms of liking what you saw in the political life?
Yeah, I think he was a unique person. You know, he was one of those people, kind of like Bill Ryan, who never had a college education, but was extremely bright and well-read. And
Bill Ryan, who was Speaker
of the House in Michigan. We'll talk about him a little later. And I was impressed with him. And initially, I think that's what got me interested in politics. There were other things later on that piqued it as well.
How about your family and so on? Was that unusual for you to have that interest?
Yes, because I grew up in a family, I never knew my father. The male in the home was the grandfather, who could neither read nor write. He could draw his name, that's the best he could do. Nobody had an education above the 8th grade until my sister and I graduated from high school. And so my interest in politics, of course everybody was interested in politics down there, but my depth of interest in politics was unusual in my family.
So what did you do when you finished high school?
Well, I decided just to run around the country, and I worked at several jobs, a meat packing job in Albert Lea, Minnesota at Wilson. Worked at a canning plant in Illinois. I worked at Caterpillar Tractor. I came to Flint and started working in the Buick plant in June of 1950. 1950.
Do you remember what brought you specifically to Flint? Was it just Buick was hiring?
I hadn't been to Flint, and I had an uncle here, and he said, "Hey, great jobs here, better than you're getting paid at Peoria at the Caterpillar plant." So I'm 18 years old, and I decided I'm coming to Flint.
1950.
So I came to Flint, immediately got a job at Buick, and of course I was only here a few months, and the Korean War broke out, and I went into the Navy at that time and spent 4 years in service, and came out and came back to Flint at that point.
So you went from high school. That was 2 years after high school.
Yeah, actually, well, it's a year and a half. I graduated in 49.
49.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Then into the Navy, back to Flint, which you identified as home at that point.
At that point, it became that because I had a job waiting for me, and I intended to go to college and use the GI Bill.
You had a job waiting for you. Buick would keep a position.
My seniority went on all the 4 years I was in service. Okay. My seniority went on. And when I got back, I worked for several months before starting to college, using my GI Bill to go to college. Nice thing was C.S. Mott had put in a great community college, and then a branch of the University of Michigan was there.
Okay. So that started as a community college.
Yep.
That Mott granted money for.
He granted money for the Mott Community College, and then about $129 million to help establish the 3rd and 4th year, which was a branch of the University of Michigan, a satellite of the University of Michigan. So I was able to get my 4-year degree there while working part-time and the like.
Did you do it in 4 years, or did it?
Took me 4.5.
Yeah.
Took me 4.5.
And you worked at Buick all that time?
No, I did not work at Buick all that time. I worked at Associated Trucking. I worked as a bartender. Whatever job was available. In the summertime, I basically worked at Associated Trucking, which had a good job. I got in a lot of hours, and so was able to bring in pretty good revenue during that time.
Mm-hmm. You said if you weren't here today, you'd be running 6 miles or so. Were you running then?
No, I wasn't. I didn't really start back running until about 1968, 69. Okay. And I weighed about 40 pounds more than I weigh now.
Okay, is that why you started running?
That's one of the reasons I started running. And I looked at myself and I said, hey, this is not you. So I decided to lose some weight, and one of my secretaries said, it's about time. So I said, well, I'm going to, and it took me about 6 or 8 months. I got it off and started running. And then not too long after that, started running road races, and I've run around 850 to 900 races since then.